What's up, lamos? Welcome back to episode 2 of the L.A.M.E Book Club podcast. My name is Melissa.
And I'm Ellie.
And we're excited to jump back into the first book, A Court of Thorns and Roses, in the A Court of Thorns and Roses series. We're just going to be going over the second half of the book today, and this is the part that got me. This is the beefiest part of the book, in my opinion. Yes.
So it's chapters 21 through the end of the book.
Yes.
So if you want to read first, listen later, hurry up.
Start there. Yeah, hurry up. Otherwise, if you've already read it, let's go.
Let's go.
All right, Ellie, are you ready?
I am. Do you want me to ask the first question?
Go for it.
Okay. How did you see Tamlin and Feyre start to get closer and build their relationship?
Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious. I mean, that they start, like, there's specific scenes where you kind of, like, start to feel it, i.e. what we talked about last time, kind of, like, of her. Yes. No, but, like, even after that, like, how they kind of, like, apologize. You can tell, like, there's tension building, but it feels like romantic tension. What?
I know.
It does. And then, you know, it kind of goes into Feyre's, like, asking him to help, or she can help, like, defend Prythian.
I felt like she became a lot more selfless and started seeing everybody as equals and was like, how can I help you? And more than like, gotta get out of here.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's why the sense of urgency of needing to leave kind of started to, like, slowly slip away. And you kind of, like you said, like, you really start feeling her kind of, like, wanting to defend the place. And I know that, and it even in the monologue, it even is like she wants to stop it now so that it doesn't get to her family, but it also feels like she genuinely, like, wants to help these people. She doesn't really she's starting to not see the difference quite as much on her being a human and everyone else being Fae, and it really does feel like she's being genuine versus, like, trying to trick everyone to leave.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I think just that. Like, it started with L.A.M.E, and then just over the book, slowly, they're just spending more time together. They're doing more things together. They're pretty much inseparable at this point, if I remember correctly. Like, they were doing every single thing together, and then she's being selfish. She's offering to help with things. So, and then they finally kissed.
Yes.
Which was a huge turning point in the book, because we were all like, I knew it the whole time.
Well, and then before that, though, remember, he kisses her eyelids. They're out at the Glen, and he kisses her eyelids.
How could I forget? That's one of my favorite parts.
I thought that was really sweet. I wasn't expecting it because, I mean, they talk about, he's like, okay, well, can I kiss you now? And you're expecting it to be on the mouth. But then it ends up, and he kisses her eyelids, and then she opens her eyes, and she can see it. The glamour is gone. And at this point, you didn't even know as a reader that he had glamored her perspective of everything.
To keep it more, like, simple, I guess, for her mind to wrap around
human-esque,
things, but
as human-esque as it can be.
And so if you remember the whole conversation about licking coins, it was because we were talking about how the similarities between the magic being like a coppery smell that completely disappears, and it's a beautiful smell, and everything is so much more heightened in her senses, and she sees Prythian for what it is, which is 10,000 times more beautiful than she already thought, and she's already thought it was beautiful. So it really paints a picture of, wow.
Well, and she sees Tamlin for how he really is too. Not, I mean, obviously he's still, like, male, but, like, he's, like, glowing, like, and golden, and not Thanos still. Which also, you have to listen to last episode if you don't get that. But yeah, and then doesn't she kiss, like, the back of his hand or something after that?
I don't recall, but could be.
Well,
doesn't sound out of place. But so that was my favorite part, because then it's like, with the glamour gone, she walks into the house and sees all these servants. His entire court is there. He just hid them from her so she wouldn't be overwhelmed.
She had no idea. Yeah.
Because all the lesser fairies don't look like humans with pointy ears and things. They look like trees and blue and outrageous. And so to keep from scaring her, he hid them. So she's there for the full first half of the book, sneaking around, like, Kronk.
Assuming no one's there.
Do you remember that scene in Emperor's New Groove where Kronk's like, bah, and there's, like, people walking past, they're looking at him, and he's like, bah, bah, like that.
Yes. Except she's yes, very much like that, except she's not aware that they're right there. She really thinks she's being sneaky.
Mhm.
But yeah, I like
Aw.
that too. And you learn that Alice, the like not wardrobe maidservant, um it looks like you said, she looks like a tree, which I can't even imagine thinking someone looks one way and then realizing that you've been tricked into seeing them as one thing and learning that their real form
Yeah.
is like something completely out of left field. Like you wouldn't have never expected them to look the
Yeah.
way that they do. I would be, I mean, I know she is taken aback by it, but I would be like so shocked by that. Um, I don't know.
Mhm.
Maybe it's just me. But
No, I
all
would
right.
too. I'd be scared. I'd probably be scared of everyone.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I'd be feeling at this point because
If a
she's
tree just started
okay.
speaking to you.
First off, it's someone you know. It's not just like I would be way more scared
No,
of
because
the
she
Fae that
didn't.
I couldn't see.
She literally said, "Where's Alice?" And she was like, "What are you talking about? I am
Who
Alice."
are you? Yeah, that's true. Well, yeah,
Okay,
I know, but I mean, I'm coming from a point of like she's finally comfortable here.
that's
So I
true.
don't know, like, and they're obviously not like scary. They just are weird looking or just different looking.
How rude of
Um,
you.
yeah. Okay. You're the one who just said that you'd be terrified. So
I would be. It's just the truth. Okay. What did you think about them finding a head in the fountain and the information that came up about the night court in
oof.
regards to the head being found in the fountain?
Uh, when they were talking about that, I obviously would be super scared. But it felt like it came out of such a left field because they're so happy and she's comfortable, and all of a sudden, then this like terrifying thing happened. I also think I might have fallen asleep a little bit during this part of the book because I mean I remember what happened, but how I remember it happening was the head was like on a spike in like the middle of the garden. It wasn't in the fountain. So I
I
mean, I
think
think I just
it
missed like a
I
little
think it
bit of it.
was on a spike, but in the fountain. So I
Yeah,
think you're 50%
I
correct.
missed the fountain part. So
Okay.
that was the
Yeah.
only but yeah, I was like when they were first talking about that, that felt really dark. I mean,
Yeah.
I know the book had gotten dark, but like especially with like the wings being ripped off the other lesser fae, but like I this felt way bigger than that
It
to
feels
me.
more personal because we don't have wings, but we have heads.
I do have a head, and well, and then they start all of a sudden they know immediately who did this too, and they start talking about
Yeah,
Reese
it's
and
branded with the night court, like, on his
yeah, the
head.
night court, yeah,
Mhm.
logo too. So then when they start talking about like how what a monster he is and just like how powerful he is too, and like how they're scared of how powerful he is, that was
Mhm.
like yikes. I was
Mhm.
like, man, this guy is bad news. I'm glad that she got out of there at Kallen because
Yeah, and I think it was ultimately a message to let Tamlin know, like, "Hey,
Mhm.
your walls are weak, and we can get through easily."
And not just we, like I can get to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Mhm.
not that was really scary for me reading it because
For sure.
you could tell that like the dread and everything is building too.
Mhm.
Okay, next question. The summer solstice. After the party, Feyre and Tamlin finally kiss on the lips.
The
Did we freak
lips!
out? Did we freak out?
We did.
Yes,
But we did,
agreed.
but we did not. Again, I saw it coming. We
Well,
all saw it
yes.
coming, but
I
it
mean,
finally happens.
I was surprised it didn't happen when he kissed her on the eyes and then she kisses his hand. Like,
You're
so
not wrong.
but so I kind of expected it to happen way earlier, but then I feel like everything just kind of built
Yeah.
up and you're like, "Yes." when
Well,
it
and
finally happens.
the author painted the most, like, romantic scene where they see the
Yeah.
will-o-wisps and they're dancing alone after that, and then they stay up
Yeah.
till sunrise, and then,
Do
as you
the
so
walk of
delicately
shame.
put it, the walk of shame all the way back where Lucian sees them and is like, "Hey, what gives?"
Yeah. He's like, "I know what you were doing." kind of to some extent, he knew.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was sweet. Sweet. That was sweet.
It was so sweet. And then after that, Reese comes back to the manor, the High Lord of the Night Court who put the head
yeah.
in the water. Um, what gives about that? How'd you feel?
Well, that was shocking. Cuz I
Mhm.
mean, this is not long after the head and then like they put two and two together. And so then he just shows up and Tamlin glamours her. So and she's like hiding behind Lucian, um, because I mean he's not expecting her to be there.
Mhm.
So anything they can do to hide it. Um, and then she learns that his name is Reese. And Lucian calls him Amarantha's whore. So at this point, that's the first time we get like the
Mhm.
name of
Also,
the unnamed woman.
on the note of the name with Resand,
True.
no blame given to anyone if you were calling him Rice Sand the whole entire book, because I sure was. But then I was like, I'm not going to call him Rice. That sounds not right. And so I'm like, do we call him Reese, but his name's Rice Sand? I could not put this together in my head.
In my head, I called him Reese the entire time, even though.
Props to you. I did not.
Well, okay, here's the only reason why. I have a family friend who has a son named Reese, and this is how they spell it Rhys.
Do
So that's
they?
that's the
I've
only
never met
reason I.
anyone with this name.
You have.
Mm-mm.
No, you have. I'll tell you. I don't want to say their names on here, but you know who they are. I'll tell you later. No, they're
What?
well, so I knew, but here's the thing, I'm dumb. And so I knew how it was spelled. I knew it was Rhysand, but I still called him Reeseland, even though I know there was no L. And I hated that I did it because I knew there wasn't an L, but I just could not stop saying Reeseland. So I just in my head called him Reese the whole time, even when it was
That's
said
different.
his
I've
full
not
name.
heard that before. Love it.
I'm unique. I am quite.
Okay, so
Anyways, so
she learns
yeah,
that his name's Reese, and
yeah.
Lucian calls him Amarantha's whore, which puts a sour taste in everyone's
Sour
mouth about
mouth.
him. Sour mouth. Um, as he goes to leave, he realizes that there's 3 place settings. Did we mention that Tamlin and Lucian like glamored Farah from Reese so he couldn't see her? They were trying to protect her, keep her away from him.
I did.
Um,
Thank you for listening.
yeah, your number one fan. Um, so he sees that there's 3 place settings, and he's like, "Mm-mm, how dare
He's
you
like,
put a
yeah, what?
glamour
There's
on
only
me?"
two of you. Well, I'm okay. This is good. We're gonna have so many Melissa and Ellie's messed up. I think on this one. I feel like I remember from reading it that the glamour didn't really work. Like he knew she was there,
I think once
and
he
he used
figured it
that as
out,
an
like he could
excuse.
see. I
Yeah.
don't know. I
Yeah,
think
oh yeah, I don't think he walked in being like, "There's 3 of you, I'm gonna pretend like I don't know," but I think, like, he could tell that there was someone else, and then when he saw the 3rd place setting, that's when it clicked that it probably was her.
the way I read it was just that like he had no reason to believe there was, well, but he kind of did because he met somebody
Yeah,
at,
he knew that she wasn't going to see some friends.
who's to
Like,
say?
he didn't know who, but he knew that she was just trying to get out of there.
Sure. Well, regardless, he
Yeah.
sees her. He's furious that they tried to glamour him, and he ends up looking into Feyre's mind. But then Tamlin's like, please, please stop. And this is a big turning point because he was like, if you want me to not tell Amarantha about her, get on your knees and beg. And so it was super demasculating. It was a very awkward read for us because I'm like,
Yeah.
no, 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 no,
But
Tamlin,
Talon
don't do
does it.
it.
I
He
mean, he
does
does
it.
it, and you have
Yeah.
a lot of I was cringing reading it, but
It
I
was
felt
like
so bad for him too.
it was an unnecessary point of being cruel on Reese's
Yes.
side.
Oh,
And so I
yeah.
think that's what she really wanted to drive home was like very rude, very mean, very cruel.
Yeah, rude. No, yeah, he's like yeah, he was
Yeah,
I had a lot of strong feelings towards he's
right.
just such a she made him such a good jerk.
She
Like
did.
you really hate him. And like
Mhm.
because of all the little things like this, like did he need I mean looking in her mind to try and get information, I get and like he has the power to do so.
Mhm.
All right, whatever. But then it was yeah, like that extra measure of like he
Yeah.
could have just listened to them when they said stop. He didn't need to make them beg in front of her.
Right.
That also pissed off Farah. Like
Yeah.
she yeah.
Yeah, on behalf of her
Um
mans. So then
but then
he asks her, go ahead.
yeah, he asked what her name is and obviously also like not knowing his full power, but she lies. And she says that it's Claire Bador, which is her sister's friend. Um
Do you
so I
say
mean
Bador?
I how what did I say it wrong? What is it better?
I don't know. I've never heard someone say it, but I always thought it was better.
All right. Everyone let us know what you say.
Bador seems like I'm going to make it fancy. Better seems like I'm not going to try it all. So it could be in between.
I don't know. These people are named Lucian, Tamlin. These aren't names. Like, I said it fancy because they feel. I know she's a human, but Resand, it all feels fancy.
It sure does. Her names are crazy in her other books
Okay,
too. They're crazy.
Claire. Claire. We're gonna call her Claire.
Claire works for me. Okay.
um, and then after that, Reese looks at all of them. He's like, "Fine, okay, I'll see you guys under the mountain." And that's also the first time that we hear the under the mountain. I'm pretty sure too, like that.
Mhm.
At least
Yeah, I
the
think
place.
so. Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, that was a crazy scene. I remember like feeling the anticipation and like anxiety
Something
that they
bad's gonna
all were
happen.
that they were all feeling during it.
Yeah. So then Tamlin's need to protect Feyre really comes out at this point.
Yeah.
Do you think that sending her home was the right move on his part?
Gosh, I mean, you don't want him to because you're rooting for
I
him, like at
know.
this point, or at least I was, but I I got it. Like if I was him, like I would want her to be as far away from
The
any
entire
threaten.
the entire book so far, she's just been nothing but vulnerable and
Yeah.
like anything could kill her. Yeah, she can hunt, but it's like a freaking mouse with a toothpick. It's not like anything crazy. And
Yeah,
so I absolutely think he should have sent her home. It was the move.
it was. I mean, and it was sweet because it's like I want you with me and I care about you, but I care about your safety more.
Yeah.
So you need to get away from me because they're coming for me.
And
Like
so last ditch effort, they ended up really sealing the deal.
yes, because he's like, well, may never see you again, or it could be a while. I mean,
Yeah.
they were hoping that it would only be a while and that it wouldn't be
Yeah.
like forever, but
And so
so
I think she kind
just
of
in case.
was like, this is going to be it though. Like I probably won't see him anymore. And so
Yeah.
because as he's leaving or like ushering her out, sending her in the carriage, he tells her that he loves her. And she has this internal monologue of like, I do love him, but I'm not going to tell him at this point because one,
What's
I'm
the point?
mortal. Yeah.
Yeah,
Two, like he's going to age quickly. There's so much danger. I
she's
need
gonna
to focus
age.
on my family. Yeah. Like there's so many reasons not to tell him how I feel.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
she did not.
And it felt like a self-preservation thing. Like I almost feel like she didn't say it for her sake too. Like
Yeah,
yes, for
for
his,
sure.
but also like if I don't say it then it's not real and then I
Mhm.
can maybe move on because I'm probably not going to be back here.
Yeah.
Um so and then he can move on too. Like I don't want him pining over me, especially like you said like she's going to die. He unless he's killed like he's
Yeah.
going to be there like
Were
so.
you super bummed when, she went back home, like, officially was at her house? Because I was super bummed.
Yeah, this part felt dry to me, and I think it's just because we got so
Really?
used. Yeah, well, I mean, we got so used to Prithian and like the magic and
Mhm.
fae, sorry, and like
That's
just
okay.
powers and like I don't know all that stuff, and then she goes back to her grumpy sister and her dad who doesn't do anything. Like I don't know, but
Yeah.
I was happy when she went back to see like how well they were taken care of.
I know, he did so
Yeah, he
well.
went, like, above and beyond. It's not like, "Oh, good, they didn't have to worry about eating." Like, they were back in high society, like,
Mhm.
back with, just, like, the crowd that they grew up with since they had money growing up, and then it was like they were even wealthier, though, because her dad
Yeah, they moved
struck up
into a
that
mansion.
well, no, but her dad, like, struck up that deal with that merchant and, like, whatever, I don't remember. He helped someone advise them, and then, like, they paid him really well, but then
Mhm.
also his ships randomly were
Came back?
found.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I
and
forgot
so they
about
had
that.
all the money that they lost plus new money.
Yeah.
So it was like
So they were
it wasn't.
stinking rich.
Yeah, they were set, and her sisters were like, I mean,
Mhm.
you could tell. I will say, and I mean I know this. We'll probably touch on this even like in a second, but Nesta always was just like bitter and like
Yeah.
angry and like didn't had nothing really super great
Yeah.
to say towards Feyre, but it also felt different even when she came
Yeah.
back. Like Elaine was so excited to see her. Her dad was so excited to see her. They were just kept asking about this aunt. Oh yeah. We forgot to say Tamlin glamored them and she knew this like going home. He told her that he glamored her family to think that she was taking care of some distant aunt that was ill and that now they'll think that the aunt passed away because she came home, and then
Mhm.
she like got an inheritance from her or
Mhm.
whatever. And like her dad and like Elaine like totally buy it. They're like so upset about this aunt that they didn't even remember about or whatever. And Nessa is just like, okay, like
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
How
So
was
Nest
she?
yeah. I think it's revealed Nesta, like, she has such a strong-willed mind is how they said it, so
Mm-hmm.
all the glamour didn't affect her. All
Yeah,
the lies, she never bought them. She was like, "Nope, I know what happened. I saw you get taken. I'm not playing this game." She tried to
yeah,
go see Feyre or try to rescue her, but she wasn't able to make it, which was so touching to Feyre because
yeah,
one of her big things is like, "Nobody even tried to come for me." So then finding out she did try, she just couldn't get through the wall
yeah. That was
was so
sweet.
sweet. I'm gonna blow through the next portion so we can kind of get to the under the mountain part, if that's good with you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So the family throws her a ball in celebration that you're back home, and in that they find Feyre finds out that the whole Better family, but here I am, Bedore, Better,
Claire's
Claire's family
family.
was completely murdered, which was shocking to me.
I
That
know.
was
I
like
mean, I
such a
knew there was.
twist.
I obviously there's a reason that
Uh huh.
like she gives or that is probably going to come back around when she gives someone else's name, but I was not expecting her entire family, like their house burned to the ground, their entire family died in it, but Claire was missing.
Yeah.
Claire was the only one that they didn't find
Right.
dead.
So
And
then
so yeah.
Feyre decides, all right, that's it. Like, I need to go back to my home, which she's now calling Prithian. She's like more connected with Tamlin
Yeah.
and his court than really she feels comfortable being in the mortal land. So she was like, gonna go back. I'm gonna fight for love. I'm gonna tell him that I love him. I don't know why I didn't. This is it. So she takes the big long trek. She knows where the holes in the wall are because she had to go through them. She goes back through. She finds Alice. The entire mansion is ransacked. It's completely destitute and destitute's not the right word. It's just it's empty and
Like there's
everything's
like you
broken.
it's eerily quiet when she walks up and she can see
Yeah.
like there's scratches on the door and the door's like kind of off a hinge and stuff. So like you can tell like something bad happened. And
Mhm.
then no one's there. Like it's
Nobody's
empty.
there except Alice. Alice was like deep in the kitchen or
Yeah.
basement or something. I
Looking for
remember.
food.
Yeah.
It was kitchen, I
Okay.
think.
Yeah. And then Alice tells Feyre the full truth that here we go. We're gonna slow down again. This is nuts.
This
Take it
is for
away.
me, yeah, this is when I was like, "Oh, man." Like, when this is really it felt like it started getting good. So
Well, this
she
is where they
finds
do the full
Alice.
reveal of the whole
Yeah.
book. Yeah.
Yeah, and Alice tells her that the blight what they were calling the blight was actually Amarantha, which is that name that she had heard in that conversation when Reese showed up. But so there wasn't actually a blight; it was Amarantha, like cursed the all of them. Yeah, so she finds Alice, and Alice tells Feyre the whole truth about the curse, which was put by Amarantha. So Amarantha was the blight. Like it wasn't actually this like unknown thing. They knew who she was, but
Mhm.
because of the curse and her, they couldn't say anything. They had to be like really cryptic about it all. So that's why they just called it something.
Mhm.
And Amarantha was a self-appointed High Queen of Prithian. She was Hybern's emissary, which Hybern's like their enemy. And she was also a deadly general in the war against the humans that
Mhm.
happened 500 years prior. Amarantha wanted Tamlin for her lover, but Tamlin was not interested. And so that really made her really mad. And because of that, that's why she put the curse on him and the Spring Court,
At
which is
a
why,
masquerade ball.
yes, at a masquerade
And
ball, which is
that's
why
why
they
they
couldn't
have
take off.
masks.
They couldn't take off their masks. And then in order to break the curse, he had 49 years to get a human girl, specifically a human girl who hated Fae and their kind, to kill one of them, but then
Unprovoked
yeah,
kill. Yeah.
unprovoked killing, and then do a complete 180 and turn around and declare her love for him. So when
Mhm.
I first read that, I was like, all she had to do was say that she loved him when she
Oh,
was
yeah.
reading, and it would have been good. Like they
It
would
would have
have
been
been
over.
fine.
They would have been
But
free.
obviously, the book would have been the book would have ended at that point
It would
if
have
she
been
had done it.
exactly this much shorter.
um, and so then and that's why the Andreas, right? That's how you say it.
I say Andres.
Whatever.
But yeah.
The wolf, on that's his name.
Yeah.
She finds out that he crossed the wall to help everyone. Was trying to help
Well,
Tamlin
so wasn't it like one person of the court, one servant
every
of
day. Yeah, like
every day
they
one of them would go, and so it was just kind of like a raffle, like, they would go out and
they know that like if they succeed, like if they're doing what their job is, they're not coming back.
right,
Like
yeah,
because they know they know what has to happen in order to
yeah.
break the curse. So they're
So they're going
sacrificing
out
themselves every single
exactly.
day,
Oh, I
which
loved
I
it.
know. I was like, that is so sweet. And they're all
Mhm.
like Tamlin's good friends.
And
Like
so
his close.
I think Tamlin had told them like, "Hey, let's give up on this. There's no
Yeah.
hope for this, so stop." And Andres was
And they
like,
were all
"No,
like,
I'm gonna still
no,
go out." And
I
so he
know.
did. He gets killed. Tamlin brings back the Bella de Ball, and they end up absolutely getting to the point where they could have broken the curse, but then Pharaoh was like, "Rather not tell him I love him." And I think that was like the last day of the 49th year that she left and was like, "I'm not gonna do it," which was
Yeah,
just, mm,
I know. It
mhm.
was like infuriating, but also you felt for them because
Yeah. Let us know
you
if you were gonna
understood.
rip your eyelashes out reading that, because I was.
Well, I was like, "Oh my gosh, they were so close," but I also understood in the moment why she didn't say anything.
For
Like,
sure.
I felt for her then, and then so I feel even more for her now because
Okay, but if I was Tamlin, I'd be like, "Are you su Huh? Did you say
you mean
something?
I said I love you, do you
Alright,
wanna say anything
bye."
back? I love you,
"Huh?"
say it back. I love you, say it
Grant
back.
does that when he leaves a room and I'm, like, mad at him, he'll just be like, "Hmm? I thought you said something.
No.
Hmm?"
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I probably
Alright,
I don't know, would that have caused her to be like, "No, it didn't happen." It would I don't know. Probably. She would have found some whatever.
I don't
But
know.
anyways, so then Alice, she's like, "You need to take me there. Take me where they are." And Alice is like, "Absolutely not." And she goes, "I don't think you understand. Like, this is not an option or
Yeah.
like this is you need to do this. This isn't me asking
So
for
she
permission."
begrudgingly does. She takes her there, and then Alice gives her the 3 rules of don't drink wine, don't make deals with anybody unless it's a matter of life and death, and then just generally don't
Don't
trust anybody.
yeah. Like
Mhm.
now that like it's all game the gloves are off because
Mhm.
now you know everything and so they're not going to hold back either.
Yeah.
Um
So right off the bat, Feyre's like 2 steps in and gets caught, and we're just like, "Ooh."
Yeah, I know.
I saw
I
it
thought she
coming, but I'm
I
bummed.
really thought I know, like, obviously, but I really thought she'd make it a little bit further than she
I
did.
know.
I thought she'd be able to,
Literally.
like, sneak around a little bit before no,
Nah.
she got caught before she even made it to where everyone was.
So she's taken to Amarantha, and like the first thing that's pretty much described about Amarantha is her long red hair. The next thing that's described is that she like wears a ring that I picture this as one of those not vending machines, but those candy dispenser like bubbles that have the toys
Mhm.
inside of them, those little clear
Yeah,
plastic bubbles, like something like that with an eyeball in it, a human eye, and then a finger bone around her neck. And so it is revealed,
yeah,
is it revealed that whose that is?
not yet.
All right. Move
She just
on
sees
then.
that. It's like she just notices it. I on the other hand, again, being the 7-year-old and having that imagination, I realized that it said eyeball, but that didn't
Mhm.
stop my mind from picturing an entire face. And
Like George Lopez.
specifically George Lopez from Shark Boy and Lava Girl when he was like Mr. Electro or Electric or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, have you seen the new Ant-Man? You had to have seen
Yes.
it.
No, I had yeah, the quantum realm one.
That guy was a direct spin-off of Mr. Electro, the, like, guy with the little butt. They,
Wait,
like,
maybe
pick
I
him
haven't
up
seen it. I feel like I've
tonight.
seen the new one, but I
Watch
can't
it
remember.
tonight.
Okay.
It's so okay, I actually liked it. I didn't think it was the worst Marvel movie. It was
I just
up
really
there, but
like
not the
Paul
worst.
Rudd.
Oh, but it was so funny. That guy was hilarious.
Okay, well, I'll have to I don't remember. I'm still so well, with that being said, that means the rest of the series I'm also picturing this guy as George Lopez. So, I have a lot of really dumb
Yeah,
comparisons of who I think all these
that's so
characters are.
funny.
Um,
Okay, so
anyways,
Amarantha
no,
essentially,
well, but then the next thing she
oh,
notices
yeah.
oh, this got me. The next thing she notices is, like, right above on the wall is Claire. Like, she
Claire
clearly
Bador
had been
Better.
she
Her
had
body.
clearly been tortured. She's
Yeah.
dead. Like,
She's just strung up there.
oh my gosh, and the guilt that Feyre felt was, like,
Mhm.
palpable. I felt it too. I felt like I had given him her name, and
Yeah.
I had put her on the wall.
It was
Oh,
a gnarly description. It was really sad.
it was so sad, and she did nothing wrong.
I know.
And that right there describes Amarantha and what she's willing to do, and just the sick psychopathy of her. Um, but okay, so leading in,
Psychopathy. Okay,
leading
so
in, so like because um of what Alice told Claire or Feyre though, like what did you think when you first heard about Amarantha?
well, number one, Alice told her not to take a deal, and the very first thing she does is like, "Let's make a deal," and I'm like,
Well, that
"Okay."
wasn't okay. That wasn't her fault. She's like, she did say unless it was life or death, and
It was
it
life and
pretty
death.
much was life or
It
death at
sure
that
was.
point.
So she says, essentially, Amarantha tells Feyre she can complete 3 tasks, one at the end of each month of the at the full moon, and if she
Yeah,
completes those tasks, then Tamlin and only Tamlin will be free. Here I am reading this thinking everyone was going to be free, so then I had to like reread the last part of the
yeah.
book
No,
trying
I
to
thought
figure out
that
what
too.
happened. But only Tamlin would be free. But she could also answer one
A riddle,
general riddle, and then it nixes all the challenges at any point in time, and she would let everyone
and
go if she could
and
answer the riddle.
like
Yeah,
instantly, it's fine. Her whole plan is gone, done, and everyone's free from her
yeah.
control.
And while she's down there waiting for all those challenges, she has to do housework. She sleeps in a prison. It's icky.
Yeah,
Um, and then at that point, how did we find out who the eyeball belongs to? Like, who told her?
I don't
Maybe
remember. Was it
Reese?
Lucian? No,
Maybe Lucian?
I think, or she overhears
Regardless,
it, or she
we
overhears or something. I don't remember.
we find out that the eyeball belongs to Jurian, who is the human lover of Amarantha's sister. This
Back in
feels
the
like
war,
this literally
like
feels like
500 years
my
before.
cousin's uncle's dad. So follow along carefully. It was Amarantha's sister's
Lover,
lover,
that's it. It's not that
who
complicated.
Jurian, who betrayed her sister, Amarantha's sister, and so Amarantha, full furious
Well, and kills her.
self, yeah, kills her
Wait, you
and
forgot that
no,
small little detail. He cheats on
tortures.
her,
Oh
like,
yeah.
he cheats on her, breaks her heart, and then kills her. So,
Yes, so full betrayal.
yeah.
It not a little betrayal. So Amarantha tortures him, takes his eyeball. So the thing is, it's
It's
not
like his
just the
soul.
eye, it is his whole soul in there, and he can
Yeah,
see through the eye. So for 500 plus years, he has been watching every disgusting, horrible thing that this woman
that
has
is,
been doing and just
yeah.
had to sit in there with his eyeball.
I wish if you're only listening to the audio version of this, I wish you need to know that Ellie just closed one of her eyes and the one that was open did like a full circle in her head. Because I mean, I too pictured him like swimming around a little bit
Uh-huh.
in the ring.
Yeah. Okay, so then Amarantha's like, "Tell me your
Well, and then the
name,
bone
girl."
just felt like the finger just felt like a trophy too.
Yeah,
Even though
it
I mean
absolutely
that,
was.
but
Yeah.
anyway,
So then Amarantha says, "Tell me your name." And Feyre's like, "Mm-mm." And she's like, "Tell me your name or I'm gonna hurt Lucian." And so she does tell her. And then next
then
question.
well, no, and then
Oh,
she
go
tells
ahead.
her what the riddle is. She's like, "I gave you your option." She had already accepted. Like, you don't
Yeah.
really have a choice. She's like,
Yeah.
"Okay, fine." But then she tells her what the riddle is, and she thinks about it for a while, and she can't figure it out.
Right.
Uh,
So
so
then
hey,
she sends her
so
to the
let us
prison.
know. No, let us know if after she said the riddle, if you got it. I'm not gonna lie, I had no idea what the
No.
answer was, but I suck at riddles. They are
Same. I thought
not my
that
strong
too.
suit.
Read it once, thought, nah, I won't get it, and moved on.
I know. I'm like, yeah, I read it and I'm like, good luck, Feyre, because, but I mean, I don't know. I wish I could sit here and tell you. I know some people are like, oh, I knew what it was right away. I'm glad I didn't. I feel
No,
like it
nobody
didn't.
has ever said that. I guarantee it, because that
I
riddle
have
made
heard
no
that.
sense.
No,
I
I've listened to podcasts where people say that
have
they
them
like,
tell
oh,
me
I
to my
knew what it was.
face. I don't believe it.
Well, I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I'm dumb, and I'm glad I didn't know it because I felt when she figured it out, I was like, that made everything come together for me. So
Ugh. Okay,
anyway,
so, uh, what was your first
what?
no, what was going through your mind what was going through your mind during the first challenge?
Oof. I was like, this challenge is made for her. So the first
Mhm,
challenge, well, also, Ellie, don't beat me to this. I know we had the same thought. The challenge was that she's like figuring it out as it goes. Amarantha's like, all right, here's your first challenge. Good luck. And like drops her in this pit. And it smells disgusting. She thinks it's mud. It's like, it's so dark.
it's icky
And
poo.
It's poo because it's a giant worm, and she's in its like maze, like underneath where they all are.
Mhm.
And naturally, again, 7 years old, my first thought was the Alaskan bullworm
The
from SpongeBob
Alaskan
SquarePants.
bullworm.
So that is the animated worm that I'm picturing in this, and I realize it's supposed to be like a really scary like thing, but
Mhm.
alas, I was not worried the entire
I
time because
wonder if Sarah J. Maas honestly was inspired by the like, who
where do
thinks
you,
to put a giant worm unless you're referencing SpongeBob?
I mean, SpongeBob is just like has such a chokehold on massive worms,
They do.
so they
You don't get to
copyrighted
pull
it.
that.
I wonder if she like had to get permission. No, that's probably why she spelled worm with a Y, so it wasn't copywritten.
Oh, could be.
No, I'm just kidding.
So Feyre ultimately uses her hunting instincts to realize that the
Yeah,
worm is blind, and she uses bones that the worm has been chewing up in there
yeah,
and takes those to kill it. But in the process of that, majorly injures her arm. No, not her
breaks
arm.
it. Yeah, she
Yeah,
breaks her
breaks
arm,
her arm. And then,
and she just like has cuts all over her body too.
yes,
Like,
yes, like deep gouges. And so she
yeah,
ends up
well,
going
because
back to the prison because she
the bones
wins.
are pointy, obviously,
Right.
pointy enough to like spear the worm because she created like a trap. So she like covered herself first in the mud poop,
Right.
so
That
that
plays
it
into
couldn't
it.
smell
Yeah.
her. Yeah, it couldn't smell. Again, that's where like where her hunting abilities come in. And then she built herself like on the side of like a wall. She built herself a little ladder so she could jump up there after she had lured the worm to where she
Hmm.
was. But then on the bottom of where she lured out of like the mouth of the tunnel, she built like like had really sharp bones and had them sticking up so it would like pierce the worm.
Hmm.
But like in the process of doing all that and like running away and everything, that's when she got super like she got hurt. So she completed the first challenge, but then
Yeah.
they sent her back injured
And she
and she has to
started
wait a
getting
month.
infected. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she's getting icky and just like, I'm going to die. She's getting feverish and she's
She's
waiting
trying
for
so hard.
Lucian.
She's
Yeah.
trying so hard to not give in. And like, oh, but like
It breaks your heart.
she's in a cold, gross cell under a mountain, quite literally dying of infection. She's like, you can tell like she is on the brink of death.
Hmm.
And then,
And then she's waiting for Lucian,
yeah,
but he doesn't
someone else.
come. Reese appears. And we're like, ugh, when he first shows up. But
Well, because I'm like, what is he doing here?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I mean, he watched, like, she saw him watch the first round, the first battle with the worm, and
she
was
makes eye
just,
contact with him at one point. And he smiles at her, right? That
yeah,
was the first
yeah.
one.
Like he
Yeah.
was being haughty. So we're just like, all right. But he appears in her cell and she's close to death. So he offers her a bargain to ultimately like spend 2 weeks with him each month if they make it out of this
Yeah.
for the rest, pretty much for the rest of her life. And he'll
Yeah.
heal her in return. And she's like, absolutely not. But then he's like, well, you gotta, because you're gonna die. And so she ends up doing
Well,
it.
she
And
realizes that too.
yeah,
But she
she gets this
counters.
massive tattoo.
Well, no, no, no. You missed it. She counters back and says 1 week. And he
Oh,
agrees.
oh,
Yeah,
good,
she only
good
spends one
catch.
week. Yeah, 1 week.
I would have
He
just moved on.
agrees. And then so that's yeah, so he heals her arm and like she feels better. Obviously, her arm is usable like I almost said workable. I don't think that's a word. um and then yeah, but like Ellie like on her left hand, this from like her fingers all the way to her elbow, this like
Mhm,
swirly tattoo with an eyeball in the middle of her palm of her hand appears,
mhm,
and she's gets so mad. She's like, "You tricked me!" Like she hates him again at that point. Realizes again, I should not have made this deal, but I absolutely needed to. But is like just irritated in general that she does
yeah.
that. Um, and so
So
then
he just, like, keeps coming back, though, after that,
yeah,
like, to talk to her, make fun of her, or whatever, but he then sends 2 female fairies to paint her body and get her dressed, and he summons her to the
just
evening
like
parties, yeah,
that they have every night.
that go
I
on
mean,
under the
I
mountain.
picture it. I pictured it being like a sleazy club.
Right, and
Yeah,
so this just goes on for the next month or so until her next challenge.
yeah.
Um,
Well, wait, no, that was the midsummer celebration that he
huh.
takes her to,
Well, but they, I
right?
mean, they keep, like, doing those parties over and over, like, every night.
Yeah, but then he lets her know. I mean, eventually she learns that the reason he paints her up and has her in really like skimpy and revealing clothing is
Mhm.
because then he'll know if anyone tries to touch her because the paint will be smudged.
Yeah.
Which I it was like, "Ugh, interesting." I'm at this point, I'm kind of like, why does he care?
Yeah.
Like, but also at the same time, I was like, that's not foolproof because depending on how hard she went dancing, I get sweaty when I like when I'm dancing at a wedding, I get really sweaty. And so I'm like, the paint would just be dripping at that point
Just
if it was
absolutely
me.
smeared. That's so funny.
But I
Um,
that's just me trying to point out flaws.
well, the ultimate goal was no one can touch her. He would seize
Yeah.
and then destroy them somehow, some way. So also she gets like mad drunk every night just to
Yeah.
with like
Again,
fey wine, which is so much more powerful than human wine,
yeah.
and just to forget everything so she doesn't have to deal with the
Well,
torture
she
that Amaranth is doing or
when it kind of gets to the point where she's looking forward to it because she blacks out when she drinks it. She doesn't remember anything that happens that night. So she's
mhm.
like, fine. Like, honestly, it's like kind of some relief for her. It's
Mhm.
like, I finally can get to like a place where I'm not constantly reminded where I am or what's happening. And I can
Mhm.
just wake up the next morning and not remember the day before or the night
Right.
before.
So her
Um,
second task comes, and what did you think about that?
um, well, that one was different. I was expecting it to be harder. But I mean, we also know why it was. So the second task was just her having to read something and like
Mhm.
pull the lever, Kronk. If we're gonna keep talking about first new group, she just had there's three levers and she just had to pick the right answer. But she's illiterate, and I'm almost wondering if Amarantha knew that somehow.
I'm
I don't know
sure.
how she would have, but I don't know how she would have.
I don't know.
Because
Reese could
Tamlin's
have
not
told
talking to
her.
her.
He reads her mind. I don't know. But
Yeah, but I don't. Yeah, I guess.
she's illiterate. She can't figure it out. It's her and Lucian down there this time because Amarantha knows she cares about Lucian as a friend, like deeply cares about him. And
Wait, oh,
so,
that was yeah, there's, like, spikes on the ceiling, and so it's
mhm,
timed. I mean, she doesn't have, like, forever to figure it out.
right.
It's, like, the longer she takes, both on top of her and on top of Lucian, there's these spikes that are
Yeah.
coming down that'll crush him, and he's chained up, so, like, he can't
He
just, like, get
was
away.
so obnoxious to me in this scene because he's just like, pick one. And she's like, I don't know what to pick. And he's like, just pick one. And I'm like, chill
Well, I
for a
mean,
second. Let her think.
I don't know, I guess, but, I mean, like, you're in his mind, he knows she can't read.
Yeah.
So, like, he's just saying, "Pick one," but I'm trying to put myself in his shoes, like, in his mind, he's dying either way, so I wonder if she picked the wrong one, would the spikes just fall and it'd be a quicker death? Or if she just sat there, it'd be a slower death because 'cause they're slowly coming down. I mean,
Wrong.
I mean, I don't know. I would think that if that was, like, my options, I would be like, "Pick the wrong one too, just get this over
Just
with."
get it done. Yeah. So
But
she reaches for one and her arm burns or has pain and she reaches for
yeah.
another one.
So
But
she pulls it back and
yeah,
yeah, and then she tries another one to see if it's same thing happens, and it does, but then she
she has
reaches for the
pain.
third one and she doesn't feel any pain. And at
So,
this point, the spikes are super close, so she just is like, "Fine, I'm gonna go with the one that doesn't hurt." And then
yep,
they
gut
stop, and
feeling.
she got the right answer.
Yeah. So out of
Um,
all 3, that one was my least favorite. I think it's just the lesser of all of them that had the action.
yeah,
So,
that's true. Well, and
I
it
didn't
was
care
like,
for that one.
yeah, I mean, of the three, yeah, you're right. That was my least favorite too. But she, she drops to her knees and just starts crying after it, and I think I would too. The pressure of knowing, like, not only would you die, but you'd also kill Lucian,
Mhm.
like, oof.
Yeah.
And then later that night, Reese appeared in her cell and it was like, "Hey, you get the night off because you won. Good luck."
Mhm.
And but the next night, and I just it's all the snide comments he makes. But I remember he said something. He's like, "But you better look good the next night." Or whatever. And so she hates him, but realizes that it was the tattoo and like he was the one telling her what the right answer was.
Mm.
Um and that's the only reason that she's still
So,
alive.
yeah, because I had this thought like, well, then in the next well, we'll come back to this. We'll come back to this. I almost spoiled something. Whew.
Okay. All right. So next question, Ellie. When Tamlin was finally able to be alone with Feyre for a moment, did you hate that the first thing he did was something physical with her, or
No, didn't even
was it
cross my
sweet?
mind. No, it didn't even cross my mind. I was like, "Oh, finally, like they get to be together. They're longing to be together. I'm so happy they're together." And then cuz he like takes her into a dark room and they start to kiss and then try to m- Why am I like 6 years old?
I mean, nothing happens, but he
They
tries just
try to do more.
quickly.
Yeah, and then Reese shows up and is like, bad behavior. And
Yeah.
so, he
I don't know.
Tamlin
I kind of didn't like it though. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, finally they get a moment together. But
yeah,
I think that what I didn't like about it was like he didn't talk to her. It wasn't like a "How are you doing? Are you okay?" in between though.
yeah.
Either it was just like a primal. I'm
Did
gonna
you
take.
okay, but did you really think that right off the bat? Like, "Oh,
I didn't.
bummer," because he didn't wanna talk to her? Or were you
I
just like,
didn't.
"They've got a moment."
The fact that it was like, oh, that he didn't talk to her, I didn't really feel as much until a little bit later. But I wasn't super happy. I wasn't
Mhm,
like, yes, they get this moment together. I remember like when I was reading it, I was like, yeah, they're
mm,
together. And like, cool. He's not like, I mean, I don't even think we've touched on this. He's just this like quiet, mindless zombie because he doesn't want to show Amarantha how he's feeling. He doesn't want to give her the
right.
satisfaction of knowing that it's killing him, all the
Mhm,
stuff that she's going through. So like, and I get that, but I hated that he didn't break from that with her. And I get it. Like it would have been, he kind of did because he was
mhm,
with her, but I mean, I don't know. It just wasn't, it didn't feel like he cared that much at the same time, but
mm,
I wasn't all like, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, I saw right through it. Like I didn't. Like
right.
I was happy that they were together, but I was a little disappointed that they weren't like, or he didn't. I don't know, because she was trying to like, I don't know. I guess she didn't really try and talk to him either. I don't know.
Yeah. I was just happy they got to be together, but I'm
Yeah, but I was so mad when Reese showed up because
yes.
not just the fact that he interrupted it, but I was like, oh my gosh, Amarantha's gonna know, and then they're gonna get in trouble.
Mhm,
That's where my mind went instantly. But then
yeah,
he was being himself. He's being jerky and like, oh, haha, did I interrupt something? Like again,
mhm.
and I'm just like, you little scumbag. Like,
So
just
Tamlin
let them have their
leaves,
moment.
fixes up his little outfit, and then,
Well,
like,
but
blinks
before that,
away the
no, Reese
paint.
does that to him. Reese does that to him.
What? Does he say, like, "You have" wait, what?
No,
Does
Reese
what?
cleans him up. Reese
What?
uses, yes. Did you read this book?
I'm questioning everything because
No.
no, because I remember okay, we're gonna come
I
back to
mean,
the next podcast
for an
and
Ellie
see which
mess
ones
up.
was wrong, because I'm pretty sure he fixes himself up, then Reese is like, "Hey, you got paint on you," and he, like, blinks it away. Like, he uses his own magic to, like, get it off.
Reese uses his magic to do it.
We're
It
gonna come
comes
back
back.
to this.
We will.
I'm rereading the whole book just for this reason.
I'm excited for Ellie messes up on the next episode
Ugh, okay.
because,
Regardless,
well
Tamlin leaves
then,
clean.
yeah, and then Reese starts making out with Feyre and like
Yeah,
getting himself all
against
painted.
her will.
Yeah, and she hated it. And then of course Amarantha shows up with Tamlin. Then
Yeah, and it's like, "I knew it. You humans can't stay faithful," which is kind
exactly,
of
yeah.
a dig at, like, Jurian, but also
Well,
Feyre.
she's blind to her own bias because she just
Mhm,
hates Jurian so much as she hates all humans, and
mhm.
because Jurian did that, she assumes all humans are going to do it too. Which, I mean, good writing at this point because that's going to make her think the same thing. But
Yeah.
yeah. So, anyways, moving forward, Reese confesses his plan to Feyre to take Amarantha down. Did you believe him when he was telling her all of this?
Um, yeah. I didn't
I
have
did
a
too.
reason not to at this point. I was like,
I
"Sure."
agree. Well, and I mean, I think it at this point I'm like, okay, that makes more sense because without him confessing that, I'm like, he's why is he
He's
just
helping
showing
her
up?
too much. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. He is messing with her, and he does keep making, even when they're like alone, he does keep making really like annoying, snide comments and stuff. But like
Mhm.
his actions are saying differently. He's
Right.
healing her. He's like helping giving her answers so she doesn't die. Like he
Yeah,
is
helping her with
helping her.
miscellaneous tasks, helping her
And like
black out, things like
knowing
that.
all of this too, like if Amarantha found out, like we know that that would be bad for him too. So
Mhm.
like he is risking himself here, even if we don't necessarily like fully understand his intentions. Like we know why that he is. So I believed him too. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, and but he also admitted that he was using her to fuel Tamlin's rage, so that if it ever got to the point where they could kill her, Tamlin would just unleash himself and
Rip Amarantha
Destroyer.
to shreds.
Ribbons. I love how they keep saying
Ribbons.
I love that they say that. Rip 'em to ribbons.
There are certain things that Sarah J. Maas says throughout all the books she's written
Yeah.
that, like, I both like, and I'm like, all right, we use this so many times. One thing I've noticed is she'll say, like, incarnate for everything. Like, he was the sun and
Mm,
the stars incarnate. He was death incarnate. He was roses incarnate. And I'm like,
yeah.
it's a lot of incarnate.
She says ribbons a lot too.
Hmm.
That's one of them, and I like it. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but there's other ones. Yeah, I agree that she says. We'll have to,
Yeah.
like,
I don't hate it,
talk
but I
I know I don't
notice
hate it
it.
either. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll have to, like, write them down, the ones that we, like, go back through and read them and, like,
Hmm.
remember, but yeah.
So Reese tells Farah that Amarantha targeted Reese because Reese's father killed Tamlin's father and brothers, and she wants to punish him for his father's misdeeds.
Because, I
So,
mean, we do know that she does love Tamlin, like, she
yeah.
wants Tamlin, so using Reese and, like, punishing him in her mind will be make Tamlin grateful.
Hmm.
Because of, like, the messed up history between their families
Which it
and
might
stuff.
make him, I mean, it might not do that. It might not do that.
Might not. No, but I mean, that's I
Because he
get it
really
made
hates Reese. Yeah.
yeah, well, exactly, but I
He's
mean, we
not going
now
to love
know
Amarantha, but he really hates Reese.
no, well, yeah, and we know that using him was smart on
For
her
sure.
part, but I mean, I think she underestimated
Hmm.
not how much he hates Reese, but how much he loves Feyre
Yeah.
because he could have used anyone, or Amarantha could have used anyone to get to him, and I mean, at the end of the day, anyone's gonna bother him because it's Feyre. Like, it's
Hmm.
not who is it. Granted, I think it didn't. Reese was a little extra, but
Hmm.
still, I
Yeah.
don't think it had the same effect that she was hoping.
Do you think, in your personal opinion, you would be able to complete the third challenge?
I do.
So, for background, the third challenge is that Amarantha brings out three innocent fairies. Well,
Well,
she does it one by one.
but they have bags over their heads.
They had
I
bags over
mean,
their heads.
she tells them that they're innocent, but like you don't know who they are.
Yeah. Doesn't she take off the bag? Yeah, she takes off
One
the
by
bag
one,
though before
one
Feyre
by one.
kills them. Yeah, she's like, "Hey, kill them, and then I'll let Tamlin go free." Could you do that?
Gosh, I mean,
And
I
it's not just Tamlin though. It's like it's everybody. It's this for the sake of all the fairies and them being free, you would have to kill those three innocent
yeah.
ones.
Yeah, I mean, yes, because no, it sucks. The inner dialogue that she has is exactly what would go through my mind. It's
Mhm.
like realistically, they're all going to be dead if they stay under here anyways. These 3 people included. So, could like killing 3 people to save everyone? It
Mhm.
is. I mean, it's a really crappy decision, but I mean, less for myself, I think if it was just for like kill these 3 people and I would be like, "Oh, I don't think I
Mhm.
could do it." But if it was kill these 3 people and every single other person would be set free and everything too,
Mhm.
I would at the very least very, very strongly consider it. But I really think I would. I don't know.
Huh.
Could you not?
I don't know. I've never killed anyone. I don't
Well,
know.
I also have never killed anyone, but I
Well, you
think given
answered
the
that really
circumstances,
quick, so I don't know.
I've had time to think about it. Given the circumstances, yes, I think I would.
It's like a one for all kind of situation, and
I
I
think this
just
the
don't
first
know.
guy though would have really gotten me because the first it's a younger um person from the Winter Court and he's like begging her not to. And that would have been
Yeah.
so hard. I know.
Yeah.
But then the second girl that is innocent or whatever, she's like, do it. Do it. Like let everyone go. And that would have
Been easier.
yes, I
They're
mean,
giving you
to some
permission.
extent.
Yeah.
To some extent, because you know that she's like okay with it. But then
The
Ellie, oh my gosh,
third.
did you see that coming? Tell him.
No, I did not. I'll tell you. She takes off the bag, long, luscious locks flow out. It's Tamlin.
And then you look up to see because I mean we've assumed Tamlin's been sitting next to her this whole time, and it's the adder was
Mhm.
disguising itself as Tamlin, and Tamlin really is right in front of her. I don't know.
I'd be
Oh,
crying. I'd just cry. I don't know. They'd probably just be like, "Get her
that one
out.
I
She's still
really
crying."
that one I would have a really really hard time with. I think the only reason if I could, the only reason that I would is because I'd already killed 2 people, and,
Yeah.
like, what's the point of backing out
Well,
now?
didn't she say, like nah, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't she say she was gonna kill Tamlin and then just, like, kill herself?
Yes, that yeah, she's like, "Well, I've already" yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, like, the same thought process,
Because
like, "I've already
what's
killed
it
2
like,
people. What's the
on
point
one
of
hand,
living?"
yes, it's honorable to free all those people and, like, to kill for all those people, but on the other hand, like, this is what you were doing it for. This is all you were doing it for, essentially, was just this one person, and now
Yeah.
you can't be
Well,
with
and
him.
then and I they brought this up in the book too, and I remember thinking, like, Amarantha, she can't do this because she said that they would if she completed all 3 challenges, that Tamlin would be set free. And then Amarantha, of course, twists the words. She's like, "Yeah, you are setting him free. He's gonna be gone from under the mountain if you kill him." And
Ah!
that I mean, Feyre's like seething, and so was I. I was like, I
And so
hate
was
that.
I.
And
Yeah.
doesn't I might be making this up. I can't remember. Doesn't she try and even before deciding to do it, think of like the answer to the riddle and still is like, I can't.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure. But then she
Through all of her
recalls
thinking.
yeah,
Yes.
recalls a little tidbit where she realizes,
She had heard a couple of times back in the
like
spring court
yeah, if this whole light was
offhandedly.
going on, Tamlin and Lucian aren't stupid. They have exceptional abilities. They have better hearing. They have better everything, better eyesight, all of it. And so if like they would have known she was around. So all of her sneaking around the house, obviously again, like she was walking past servants and everything. She just didn't know.
No.
But Tamlin and Lucian would have known she was there. So any conversations between them that she thought she was eavesdropping on
They knew.
into, they knew she was
Yeah.
listening. So they
And
were
so that was
dropping
like a
hints.
loophole
Yeah.
around the curse too, because they couldn't tell her directly. Anyways,
Yeah.
we're we have
Lucian
an extra minute.
ultimately was like, I think he said, "Tamlin, your heart is hard as a rock these days. Like you need to lighten up." And they just kept making references to Tamlin's heart is cold as stone. Tamlin's heart is
Yeah.
a rock.
Yep,
And
or like a
so
heart of stone or
mhm,
whatever.
it hits her that she kind of takes a bet on it. Like I bet that that was literal and not figurative.
Yeah.
And so she takes the dagger and stabs him in the heart. And
And it
sure
hits
enough,
something hard.
hits something
Like,
hard.
like, he doubles over, like, obviously, it was painful, but it didn't kill him, but all she had to do she didn't say you had to kill these 3, she just said well, I guess, she had to, like she tried, and
Mhm.
so by doing that, she was like, "We did it. Like,
Yeah.
he's alive, and I did it," and then, of course, freaking Amarantha using her word play and everything, she's like, "Yeah, okay, I'll free him, but I didn't say I'd free him right away," so she's like, "It could be" and at this point, it's like, it could be tomorrow, it could be in 10 years, it could be in
Could be 2 years, that's very possible. 3 days,
Do
that's very
okay,
possible.
yeah.
4?
Okay, Dwight.
Uh-huh.
That I love The Office.
I know.
But yeah, um, totally so anyways, knowing like, I figured Amarantha would try and pull crap like that, but were you angry when you read that
Yeah,
about the loophole?
I sure was. Mhm.
Yeah, I was too. I mean, I don't know.
It's just a
I
cheap
guess it's
shot, but I
yeah.
also am like, I expected nothing well, I kind of did expect less because 'cause I'm like, "Okay, this was the boss scene, they completed the big challenge, she did it, let them go," and then it's like, "No, no, no, there's more." So I'm kinda like, "Can we just"
Well, but then she goes, "Fine, I actually, like I will free everyone if you deny that you love Tamlin." And
Mhm.
and then this is when she grows a pair and says, "No, I'm not gonna do that."
Mhm.
Um, and then during all of this, Reese seizes his moment and hurls an ash dagger
At
towards her.
Amarantha.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I can't remember. It misses her, right? Or does it like bounce off of her or something?
I think it doesn't
Oh,
even
she
make it to
repels it.
her. Yeah, she
Yeah.
just
Yeah. And then uses her magic on him. And at this point, now the plan is out in the open. But yeah, and then after she reflects the
the
ash
dagger.
arrow, yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
whatever, the ash dagger or whatever, she then immediately like captures Feyre and like I like lifts her up, like, and
Like
she's
Stranger Things style.
yes, exactly.
Mhm.
um, and I mean, it sucks. She's like in a lot of pain. Amarantha's like slowly but surely like
Crushing her
yeah, like all
bones.
the bones in her body.
Yeah.
It's so painful. And she knows, she's like, "This is it. Like, I am stuck here. I literally can't do anything." So all she's doing is like a last ditch effort is just trying to think of the answer to the riddle.
Yeah.
I need to go back and reference it. I don't remember exactly what she thinks of that makes her like
Solve
oh,
it.
she's thinking about Tamlin.
That could make sense.
I'm pretty sure she's thinking about Tamlin and her experience. I'm probably gonna have to come back and say I need to go over that part. It's been a while since I've read this book, but she does. She remembers then the answer to the riddle, or she figures out the answer to the riddle, which is love, and she
Which I did not
screams it.
like. Yeah.
I did though. Like it was simple, a lot simpler than I was expecting, but I liked it. It's a
It was
romantic book.
so okay, Grant read this too, and he was like, "This is so cheesy." And I was like, "I'm gonna have to agree with you. This was really cheesy." Like, but it's such a simple answer to like it should have been like a cold winter's night under like the dark moon or something like that. Like that should be the answer. Something so difficult to go along with that difficult riddle. But the fact it's
That's
just love, it was too easy. And yet I couldn't figure it out, which makes me more mad.
I was just about to say that's the point. I feel like you always overthink things, and
Hmm.
that kind of plays into even her character a little bit.
Yeah.
And then the answer's right in front of your face, and it's something that she's avoided forever. But
Yeah.
then she finally comes to terms with loving Tamlin, and then comes to like gets the answer.
She
I liked it for that
screams it
reason. I felt
out.
like it wasn't as simple as you think it is.
I don't know. But so she screams out, "It's love!" And
And
then
then her spine
Amarantha
snaps,
snaps her spine.
and
And
she's
so,
dead.
yeah. So what did you
That
think
that got
about
me.
what it
Oh,
did? It got me too.
yeah.
What do you
Well,
think about her out of body experience?
yeah, well, because right after she quite literally dies, then she's like watching herself on the floor broken and like watching what unfolds next through someone else's eyes, and you don't know who it is. But then once that happens, I mean, she broke the curse by saying it.
Mhm.
Like Amarantha she's put like, you knew what was going to happen based on the challenge that was accepted if she
Yeah.
says the answer. Like, so there's nothing Amarantha could have done to stop it. And because of that, all their powers, like full power, comes back. No one's powers are suppressed anymore. And she's watching Tamlin just
Just rip
rip
Amarantha
her
to
to ribbons.
shreds, to ribbons.
Yeah, just laser. He pushes her up against a wall, like rips out her throat, like
Mhm.
destroys her.
And I think at
But
that point, Feyre realizes she's watching all this happen through Reese's eyes, which kind of like goes back to that the
Bond,
bargain that they
or the
made
yeah,
created that bond, and so she's somehow tethered to him in a way, like her soul is. And so
I don't think she figured out it was him right away.
I
I
don't
don't know.
remember,
I can't
but
remember when she figures it out, but we know. You know
it
by the
was
end of the
through
book.
yeah, it was through
Like,
Reese's eyes. We were given that information.
yeah.
Um, and
And
then
then
okay,
but then this is the cool part. She watches everyone, like, I mean, a human, sacrifice quite at this point everything
mhm,
to save everyone in Prithian. And so she's watching all the high lords
gather
gather
round.
around her and put like a little magic ball, a little light ball
Mhm.
into her body, which we then learn is like they're giving part of themselves
Part of their
to
power.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, to her to save her life. And then she like gets sucked back into her own eyes and like gasps and opens them, and she's back and
But
sees
she's
everyone.
back and better than ever, baby, because now she's not human anymore. All this
Yeah,
power rebirthed her into a full fae, which I think that they really didn't hit that too hard. Like it wasn't like all this description around the fact that she's now fae. Like you know in Twilight how uh what's her name, Bella, wakes up as a
yeah,
vampire, and it's like this is like chapters and chapters worth of description, and this is a big
yeah,
moment. It was all leading up. They kind of were like, and now she's Faye, and then moved
yeah. That
on. And I didn't even catch that she was Faye until the very end. I again had to go back. I'm a
you
rereader.
need
I
to
have to
wake
really
up
go
when you
back. I
you
know.
need to drink coffee while you're reading or something.
This was bad. But yeah,
Yeah,
so she's now Faye, and now she
her
has the
skin,
ability
she's
to
glowing.
mhm. She has the ability to live forever unless she gets killed. So
Which that I
that's
mean,
sick.
I didn't see that coming, but and right when which I don't know if that's me just being naive, but right when it happened, I was like, ah, that makes sense. Like SJM had to do that. I knew there were four more books.
Hmm.
Like and if she's gonna be with Tamlin, she's
Yeah.
gotta, like, she
She's got to
can't die in like
right.
however many years a human lifespan. Like,
Yeah.
so I was happy when it happened because
Yeah,
I'm like,
we were
okay,
all
good.
excited.
Now
Mhm.
we know we're in this for the long haul. Like,
So Tamlin
so then,
explains that's the
yeah,
only way that they could have saved her and that they're all free now and it's all because of her. So they call her Feyre Cursebreaker. I don't know if that's mentioned in the
yes,
next book or now, but I like that name. That was
I know.
good.
I'd take Cursebreaker as a nickname.
Uh-huh.
A lot better than what some of my family members call me, which is Fafa.
Why do they call you Fafa?
My yeah, one of my younger cousins just like I don't know, when you know, you're first learning to talk, you don't say things correctly. And so like his how he said Melissa was Fafa. I don't we have no idea where it came from,
That's
but like
cute.
he called me Fafa until he was like 10
Aw.
just because it kind of turned into a nickname. But then his parents still call me Fafa now, my aunt and uncle. So, but Cursebreaker
Um,
has a little bit more of a pull to
for
it.
sure. In middle school, everyone was like, let's, and I'm not kidding. This didn't start with me. It just happened upon me. They were like, let's put SM in front of people's names. They're like Smashly or like Smelissa. Yeah, was
Smellies.
smelly for like 3 whole years. Didn't love that. Please don't reference that ever again. I have half a mind to take this off the podcast.
The lambs.
Yeah.
Literary
So
analysis with Melissa and Smelly.
so,
Anyways,
so Tamlin
what yeah.
sees Feyre's tattoo that Reese the
So
bargain
she
like
got from the
left on her.
bargain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he sees it and he's like, I value I'm going to find a way out of this so that you don't have to continue this deal with Reese. Did you want him to find a way out of that? No, now knowing that Reese wasn't fully the bad guy that we all thought he was.
I mean, he's still bad. He just was
Yeah.
on their side. We thought he was on Amarantha's side, but like he
That's
still was
yeah.
annoying.
He wasn't downright evil, but he's still obnoxious bad.
Yeah. I don't um yes. I think at the root of it I did because I want like I didn't want her to feel like Tamlin to feel like he had to share her with
Mhm.
him, and it felt very spiteful when he made the bargain with her. So
Mhm.
like I was hoping they'd find a way around it, but I think like kind of realized that this is probably going to lead into the next book. So I wasn't mad because I'm like, well, we'll figure out what happens next, like
Yeah.
in the next because I mean the book's almost over now. Um, but I guess leading that into it, what did you think about the last conversation that she had with Reese before the ending of the book?
Um I so he says goodbye to her and then Feyre basically asks her why and Reese says that he wanted to be remembered for fighting against Amaranth and fighting against the
Yeah.
evil and
So again, like
he
softens his character a little bit, but he's still
it
annoying.
does. Oh, it was so sweet. But and then I was confused. I was like, what are you all about, guy? What's going on? Because easily in the next book, he could just go back to being bad and being and essentially he became a morally gray character here
Yes.
because we
Yeah.
were like, he's bad, but now we don't know. Oh, then he says he didn't want her to fight or die alone, which was also sweet.
Yeah. I
And
thought I
asks,
was like a little shocked by that too.
yeah. And then he asks her how it feels to be high fae, and she says her body's different, but her heart is still human, which is, I liked that because it was, we
I
could still
didn't.
relate. What?
I didn't like that because I'm like, get like she's already I don't know. This whole book was about her realizing that Prithian was her home and these people were her real family, kind
Sure.
of.
She's not
And
going to
like
betray who she once was.
but she didn't like who she was. So why are you now I felt like she was like so
Mm.
like didn't well okay she didn't understand herself she didn't like she was angry with her like plot like I don't
Mhm.
know what life handed her and all that stuff and then all of a sudden I just felt like this at this point she didn't care about being a human like she realized she was human and
Mhm.
but her whole thing was just trying to get back to her family it had nothing to do with her
That's true,
and
I guess.
then now she's changed and she's like I wish my heart but my heart's still the same I'm like no it's not your
I
heart here is
almost read
so
it more
different
as like her heart is still in she still has the mindset of I care about everything, I guess. I care
I
about Fae
I
and
guess
human alike. I'm not just self-serving and like now that I'm Fae, I'm only Fae, I'm only for you guys, but it's I'm for all parties.
yeah, I think that's probably what SJM was like getting at, but I was irritated because
Yeah.
I just felt like you haven't cared once until now, and now you're given this gift, quite literally a second chance at life, and you're like, yeah, I'm different, but I want to be the same. Just like, are you kidding? I don't know. That was probably a really
um
surface level take on it, but
Mm. So, okay, so then Rhysand starts to leave, but then all of a sudden he makes like a shocking face at Feyre, like looks at her like, what? And then he disappears. That cliffhanger was enough for me to read the next book immediately. Like immediately bought the book, came back, started reading because I wanted to know what goes on. And you don't find out
that
for a good long time. And so that bugged me. But That was such a
I'm not,
cliffhanger for me.
that part really went over my head
Really?
when, yeah, I mean, it was like because I kind of took it as like looking back and like, and then leaves. Like it to me, it wasn't like I either like read it wrong or maybe I
Yeah.
pulled a smelly and I was asleep.
You're absolutely not allowed to do that. That stops.
Pulling a smelly. That is nope, that's
Time
happening.
mark 1 hour, 17 minutes. That
Nope,
stops now.
it doesn't. But I just kind of took it for what it was. Like he just kind of looked at her and left. I didn't get any kind of significance in the moment from that.
Mhm.
But and well,
That's
and then
crazy
cuz
that, like,
yeah,
we read the same thing, but both of
I
us
know.
take away so
That's what I
much.
love about books. That's why I love
Yeah,
talking about it. That's why this podcast.
this
Anyways.
podcast.
But,
Um,
well, but then they leave and, like, go back. I mean, she talks with Tamlin and they go back to Spring Court, but I think what honestly too really made me wanna read the second book, even though, like, after everything that happened was kind of she touches on it a little bit, like, Feyre, like, is really struggling because like I would imagine that I'd be so grateful. Like,
mhm,
I have a second chance at life. I get to be with the person that I love.
mhm.
Where the curse is broken, like
There's
we
no more
have a chance to
stress.
start over.
Yeah.
But she can't get over what she had to do in
Mhm,
order to get to that point, and that's just an angle on it that I don't think like, I think if she didn't bring that up, if the book had ended there, I'd be like, "Ah, they won." But, like, that's
mhm.
not life. Like,
Right.
it was real. Like, it was a very human, I guess, her heart, but whatever. It was a
Oh,
very
well, well, well.
okay. It was a very realistic tie to,
Yeah,
like, what the crap that actually went through, and it honestly made me hate Amarantha even more. Because then in the part of me, I was kind of like,
'cause it scars her, yeah.
"Well, yeah," I'm like, "Okay, Amarantha probably, like, even thought about this, like, she's not gonna win, but even if she does, she's not gonna be the same, and at least I ruined her."
Yeah,
Like, and
yeah,
I was like, "Wow, that's deep."
yeah.
Like,
No, it was really good,
and
but it was a
yeah.
very even through that, it was still a very, like, "And they lived happily ever after" ending, 'cause they essentially say
Not really, though.
Feyre and Tamlin walked into the sunset and, like, went to go home. Like, that's
Yeah,
how
but
it
it's
ended, so it was very, like, "And
yeah, but
the
because
end."
of, like, the inner monologue that she had, to me, it didn't feel like a happily ever after. It was like, it
Mhm.
ended, but that was
But
rough.
not as happily. Yeah,
Yeah,
could've been.
and
Um,
I was hooked. The end.
and then yes, sign me up for the next 4 books.
Honestly. I mean, I think I can't remember at what point during that. I also haven't mentioned this yet. I'm a Kindle girly. I I know
That's
Ellie
outrageous
isn't.
to me. Uh-uh.
I like this. I do miss the smell of books, and I like being able to like have my awards on a shelf, seeing like what I've read and everything. But the convenience and the instant gratification, everything of a Kindle, and the fact that I can like read at night without needing a lamp. I don't know, all of that, big fan. So I don't remember at what point, but at some point, I had the physical copy of the first book because I didn't realize how much a Kindle would benefit me at that point. But I got a Kindle in between finishing the first book and starting the second one.
Yeah.
And I just don't remember at what point in the first book when I bought the second one, but I already had it. So like right when I finished this one, I think I spent about 20 minutes before I started the second one. I was like, I need to know what
Yeah.
happens next.
Yeah. That is a plus, but, when I'm about 3/4 of the way through a book, that's the time to go to Barnes& and Noble. Not
Yeah.
Nobles, but Noble. I found that out recently.
I was
I
about to say,
know.
you're saying this as if I said Nobles. You are the one who
No,
called it
I
Barnes and
have said
Nobles.
Barnes I still say it, and I'll have to, like, go back and say it again. Barnes& and Noble. It's not
There it is.
Nobles. But, yeah, 3/4 of the way through the book, that's when I go get the next book, so I don't have to wait at all.
Well, I like, again, another Kindle plug. I like the percentage
Mhm.
progression that it shows you on the bottom. So, because like you don't have the whole book to know, like, oh, okay, I'm this much into it. I've read
Right.
this much of the book.
Mhm.
But I can tell you when I've read 67% of the book because the Kindle tells me. So I
Yeah.
know, like, at that point, okay, I need to start like thinking about the next one.
For anyone who's watching this podcast and not just listening, wanna see something so funny? I forgot to remove the cereal box from behind me. Hold on.
What cereal is that?
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Oh my gosh.
I just
I
noticed,
kind of
like, an
want cereal
eyeball
now.
behind my shoulder.
You're getting ready for spooky season.
Mhm. All right, well,
All right. Well,
that's the whole first book.
man, we probably should have made that into 3 episodes. Oh well.
Now we know. Maybe next book will be
Next
3.
time. Yeah.
Mhm.
But oh man, let us know what you guys thought. Like, subscribe, comment, tell
Yeah.
your friends, tell your
Tell your
family
friends.
if you want. This is a lot of fun for us. At the very least, we get to hang out and talk about our
I
books.
know. We're
So
like, at the very best, this could take off and we'll quit our jobs and it'll be awesome and we'll just live like this. At the very worst, we're having a good conversation and
exactly,
that's that
conversation we
about that.
probably would have otherwise. So
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see you all next week.
peace out, lamos.
Bye.